Hey Mark, how's it going?
Good, John. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
I think I just got a message before that the meeting was ended by the host.
Oh
Who's
yeah?
the host? Yeah, and then it started up again. I wonder if I don't see anything in Slack, so I assumed it might
Yeah,
have
it's always
changed. But
little bit confusing which meeting. Oh, okay. Looks like James is hopping on. Okay. Hey James.
cool.
How's it going?
Morning, James.
Good.
Morning. You doing demo, John?
I think it's James today.
The other James.
Yeah. He was setting up his Terraform earlier, so
Will's in the other link. I'm gonna ping him to join this one.
Here, I'll just update. He's in the link that's in the Gidley demo doc.
Yeah.
Okay.
James F is doing the demo, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. Just make sure it's not me.
Let me see.
I didn't do my homework.
Hello.
Hey, James.
Howdy.
It's like your initiation.
Yeah, it's like when you join a gang and everyone beats you up.
You must murder this GitLab instance.
So I guess I should share screen. Is that the normal dealio? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what I'm supposed to do in a demo. I did all the prep. It seems to work. So, yep.
I think we're done. Let's wrap it up.
Sweet.
And recording.
I
so to clarify, James, so you did all the documentation and you set it all up.
Yeah.
Cool. I guess normally what we do is we actually do the setup and configuration on the call and like walk through it all.
Well, see, I was worried it wasn't going to work, so I was like, oh, I better try have a go. I can, but it was pretty easy, so I don't know. Maybe I should have.
I thought we said, James, we were going to stop doing the setup during the demo call. We were going to prep it before.
Did we?
I thought we said that like a number of weeks back.
Well, here we are. So do we want to test anything with my setup?
All right. I thought I had a few more moments to think what we were going to do after we got it set up. I think it would be good to set up a script or something that's like putting push load so we can see that load occurring. So, James, you imported the WW project. Is that the one?
Yeah, it actually took 2 attempts. The first time failed, and I couldn't find out where to get the logs for, but I tried again and it worked. So I don't know what was going on there. But
okay.
Yeah.
Do you have the WW project cloned locally?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe. If I knew where it was, maybe I'd it's .com, isn't it?
Yeah, it's WW.com. That's the one.
It's probably ages out of date, but I have it.
Oh yeah. Well, it probably doesn't take too long to. Well, actually, no, it doesn't matter because this commit will still be there. So essentially, like, let's do a one-liner to generate some traffic. Are you using Bash or Z Shell? Bash.
Bash.
I don't know if this is gonna work in Bash because I use Z Shell, but I'm just gonna put a one-liner in the Gitaly channel.
Uh-huh.
Oh, so actually, the first thing you'll need to do is set up your branch as a remote. So your thing as a remote.
Yeah.
So git remote add. And
And
then
add an SSH key, right? Because you didn't think you had
you
one.
can do it with HTTP.
That's true.
Oh, okay.
So I wouldn't bother with that. You can just use the username and password in a default installation. So
Makes sense. Man, all the Zoom HUD gets in the way all the time.
yeah. I'd call it demo or something like that. Yeah. Perfect. And then did I just put the, yes, I just put the script in Slack.
You reckon it'll work?
I don't know. I don't know the difference between Bash and Z Shell enough to know if that for loop is valid Bash. Oh yeah. Well, it's automatically.
Skipped my username. Maybe I'll try.
Yeah, maybe,
maybe I'll try like fetch.
yeah, there you go.
Really testing my memory on what I set for half an hour ago.
My password.
I think it's doing something.
This, yeah, that's probably like fetching a whole bunch of stuff. So you can probably just Control C that one. Okay.
Seems
There
to
you
work.
go. All right. We're generating some load. So we should see some stuff coming through in the dashboard now.
Son. Do I have to refresh this? I don't know. It looks like there's a big gap here. What is this big gap? Oh, yeah.
So on GitLab.com, we have a replication delay chart, which is actually showing something quite different to the replication latency. Like, because they're two different numbers. Which one are we looking at here in this dashboard? Is this latency or delay?
Can we go to explore on that panel on the drop down?
Yeah, that's a latency.
Yeah, so I wonder if the latency is actually got the wrong scale in the visualization. It's because it's showing seconds, not milliseconds. So
I'm
if you
working
go
the
back,
issue for that right now, so I'll create a note for it to change it to milliseconds.
well, I mean,
it should be seconds actually. All of the latency
Okay.
measurements are in seconds. But James, are you saying the visual on the Grafana dashboard, like, is it the right units?
yeah, well, that's what I'm wondering. If you
question.
go,
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
so-
can check that. Where, there should be like a visualization.
You got to go to edit instead of explore.
Oh yeah. Okay. I was like, where's that? Yeah, if you go on the left, James, the second icon, and then okay, it is seconds.
So that's right.
So Yeah, that should be right.
Okay.
I mean, it is www.github.com, so several seconds for replication. That's probably the initial replication where it did the snapshot replication. So that's reasonable.
Okay.
Regarding that delay,
That's more reasonable now that we can zoom in and see that. Yeah.
I think that delay panel that you're talking about on GitLab.com, there's something wrong with it. I was taking a look at it and it's not really measuring delay. So if you want to see something like that over here, I think we need to first fix that metric before we bring it over here to Omnibus.
Okay. Can you make an issue about that? Because I think the delay metric is meant to be the total time from receiving the write to it being replicated, the replication job being completed, right? Including the queue time and the actual replication time. Whereas replication latency is just the duration of the replication job itself, right?
Yeah. And then that delay, yeah, there's definitely something wrong with it. And then it's also not completely accurate because you could have a job waiting behind another job that succeeds. Yeah. So, but I was gonna say, James, that we do have because of the smart election, we do have a query that like measures how far behind each node is. So yeah, I wonder if we can use that query and emit that metric. That might be more useful.
Oh, how many replication jobs are pending, or?
Yeah, it's like how many replication jobs are pending since the last completion.
So the queue, but I mean, the queue doesn't invalidate jobs that will have already been implicitly completed. Like if I queue 10 jobs and then I do the bottom one, I still have to do all 9 jobs.
Yeah, I
right?
mean, we should
even though in
collapse
theory
them,
the change.
Yeah. I wonder if there's an issue for optimizing.
There is an issue for collapsing.
There is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the like we can like make a more complicated metric, or we can improve the logic, and that will automatically improve the metric.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't want to, I don't think we want to be doing unnecessary replication jobs, which involve calculating checksums and doing a bunch of expensive work.
Yeah. And collapsing jobs, that should be relatively straightforward. But
yeah. Is someone taking notes? I'm just opening the doc.
Yeah, I put a few notes here about metrics that need to be updated.
Okay, cool. James.
I'll let you take that line, James. Sorry.
All right. Have there been any improvements that have been merged to HA in the last week that we should be looking at, or 2 weeks?
I got in a change for reconcile to do dry runs of a reconciliation and then actually apply the repairs. So that's one thing. So we would need a split brain situation or a stale node situation.
Yeah.
We also have we also merged the logging for smart election, so we can tell on a failover why a prefect failed over to a certain node.
So I guess what we should do is stop the primary node and observe or actually no, it's not stop the primary node, stop the secondary node, one of the secondary nodes, so that it gets stale.
Yeah.
then we can observe the primary election logic, and then we can do the reconcile to bring the secondary up to speed.
Yeah,
Right.
that sounds good.
Do you want to talk James through that?
Sure, James. So, okay, on the Grafana, it looks like Gitly 1 is the primary, right? So you can bring down either Gitly 2 or 3.
I
And just do yeah, Gitly FCTL stop Gitly. Yep. Okay, now we just wait like a few seconds. And then
I write some logs open. I don't really know.
do you have the prefect logs anywhere, James?
SSH is the prefect ones.
Okay, if you could just do a GitLab tail prefect on the prefect box.
Tail.
Yeah. Prefect.
It's real awful typing on these boxes.
Oh yeah. Oh, you got it.
about,
It's AE.
Oh, shit.
Okay, so yeah, so it's complaining there. So that's all good. Actually, let me find a log string so you can just tail grep that, so you don't have to look through all the. Okay, I'm gonna paste something into the Zoom chat here.
Is Kibana included with GitLab?
You're getting some connection errors there. Is that the one you brought down?
I think so.
118.
Yeah, it's
Gitly
Gitly 2. Should be.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so James, if I pasted just a tail pipe grep, yeah, if you just do that, then we'll be looking for basically it's the SQL election query log.
Are these smart quotes? Oh my gosh.
Are they? Oh, I think Zoom might have turned into smart quotes. Okay, so then now it should be sufficiently behind. So now if you can bring Gitly 2 back up. Okay, and then now I can bring Gitly 1 down, and we'll see what happens.
Does anyone know if Kibana is included with GitLab?
No. You can hook it up easily, but it's not part of Omnibus.
I'm just wondering if we want to create like queries that can be included in Kibana really easily to track these things we're looking at.
Yeah, I'd say more large customers use Splunk than Kibana, but I think there's some that use it. And it probably isn't too hard to convert one to the other.
I mean, we definitely use it, right? I mean, the demo should kind of reflect our workflow on GitLab.com, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you think that's where we make money, that's fine.
Okay, well, it looks like we did elect Gitly 3, but we didn't see the log message come through. That's weird. Well, that's good that we selected Gitly 3. Yeah, I wonder why the log message. Are we logging on info? Should be, right? Yeah, I see an info log there.
Um,
Okay.
can I do like the historic logs on such for this?
Yeah, I don't know if those single quotes are messing it up. I don't know.
Will this get me all the logs or only the new ones?
Yeah, I guess you have to go to the new ones. The tail, it probably passed already.
I don't know how to get to the regular logs.
I forgot. Where,
Oh,
do you know,
it's
Will?
varlog
Or-
gitlab prefect, and then within that directory, the file name is current. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Just like GDK.
Maybe I don't have permission for that. Maybe I'll do a session.
You just do -I or yeah.
I forgot. What am I looking for?
Incomplete. If you search for incomplete counts, incomplete underscore counts. Okay, well, maybe it didn't make it into the nightly build. It got merged yesterday. James, can you do a check the version on prefect? So if you do, where is it? Is it opt GitLab embedded
Say what now?
/opt? This is a path to the binary. I just want to check the version of prefect to see if it's it should include that log message. So /opt.
I don't know where I'm supposed to type this in. Yeah. Oh right, I see.
Yeah, embedded bin prefect, and then do a dash version. Okay, 83D. Okay, I'm gonna check that. 83D1. In the meantime, Paul, this is a good time to try the reconcile thing.
Do we make changes to any repos while they were down? I don't think so, right?
Yeah, the script's pushing new branches. So those have all been going to whatever nodes are up.
Okay, so we just need to know which node is missing which branches.
So maybe it's worth hitting pause on that script. We're just killing it. And then, because otherwise they'll diverge as soon as we bring it up, right? And then they will have like a split brain versus one that's just behind. Your script doesn't handle split brain, does it? It just handles one has gone ahead and the other one's behind.
It doesn't. It doesn't look at any checksums behind or ahead. It just looks at it just designates one as the reference and one as the target. So we don't have any kind of conflict resolution yet. So what it's going to do is it's just going to tell you what the checksum is on the reference, what it is on the target, and if you want to move forward with it.
All right. Do you want to talk James through doing that, or do the docs describe how to do it?
It describes how to do the repair, but to actually create the damage, I think we have something in place that we can do it. So what we can do is we can bring back up the down node. So the down node, which one did we bring down?
One, right?
Well, one's down, but also, do we bring down prefect 2 or any of the other ones? Or?
We don't need to bring down the nodes when we do the reconcile. We only need to bring it down to create the damage for it to fix.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think we already have the damage.
Yep. So yeah, we can just James, if you could just start back up this Gitaly, so we have all of them back up. Okay, and then on the prefect box, you're going to run the command in the docs under the node repair, the node recovery. Actually, we can try the data loss first before we do reconcile. That'll tell us, as far as the database's perspective, what jobs failed to reach the down node. So that's, you passed that section. Yeah, right here. Identify impact of primary node failure. So that command at the top, we could run that and see what it says.
Do I need times for this?
I think you can omit those and it'll choose a standard format for the times.
Okay.
Or can you add a note about documenting the fact that the default time so that people know what it'll do?
Sure. Is it not listed? Oh, actually, it's right. Is that right? I can't read it, but now because the window's in front of it. But I think it says something about, oh no, that's something else. Okay. Yeah, I'll put a note.
If the time frame is not specified, did replication jobs for the last 6 hours accounted? Okay.
Yeah, that's, oh yeah, that is what we're looking for because this is a time window that we didn't have to specify. So do we still need a note or is that clear enough?
That's clear enough, I think.
Okay.
So what was this telling me?
So all those info logs, that's garbage logs. There's an issue for. The bottom line there is the actual output of the command. Actually, the bottom two lines, failed replication jobs between time to time. And then it's telling us that the repo at that relative path has 476 failed replication jobs. So what I'm assuming, how I don't remember exactly how this is supposed to work, but I think what it's telling us is that those are all the jobs to all secondaries that we're not able to replicate. Because 476 sounds kind of big to me. I would imagine
I think
that's
there are only
double.
200 branches, so you're double. Paul, can you make a note that the example/repository one jobs example output in the docs is misleading because we're not actually showing the path name to the repo, we're showing the hashed storage path.
Sure.
So I can try this reconcile thing too?
Yeah, we can try that now. So for reconcile, you're going to need to specify a target. So the target is the name of the, you're going to have to specify a virtual storage. Well, I'll let you read the docs first, just to make sure it's clear. How about that?
Mm-hmm. Sure. Do you want me to try something? What I wanted.
Sorry, did you, I just want to make sure you can interpret it without me telling you what to do. Does it make sense or?
Yeah, but where am I supposed to, how am I supposed to know from this?
Oh, you mean based on the data loss command? The data loss is just a diagnostic tool. We don't need that in order to run the node recovery. So we just know that.
Paul, James is making a valid point that you have to specify a virtual storage. And what's a target storage? Is that another virtual storage? Is that a Gitaly node?
That's a Gitaly node. So yeah.
Well, so I think the language is not clear, and the output of the command that you would run to get, like the command you just ran, which is what you'd run first, doesn't actually give him the values he should be using. And the target storage language is not consistent with really the language we're using anywhere else in the docs.
Well, what is the language we're using for the Gitaly nodes? We just call them Gitaly nodes?
Yeah, we call them Gitaly nodes.
Okay. Um,
So
the
this will
data,
be Gitaly 1, right? Because that's the one we took down.
yeah, Gitaly 1.
And this will just be the
No, virtual storage will be
Oh, the virtual
a
storage.
storage one will be storage one.
Storage
Oh.
1.
And
Yeah,
then,
the back end, the target will be Gitaly 1.
gotcha.
Right.
So the data loss command, it doesn't really tell us anything about which node is behind. It tells us which projects are experiencing replication issues. So we wouldn't
And it
use.
doesn't tell us which virtual storage they live in. So this command would be very unhelpful in a multi-shard situation.
So we need the data loss command to also print the virtual storage that we're referring to.
At a minimum.
Okay.
Should I try that?
I think the other problem is like those failed jobs. What was this like? You really want to know like, are those from the same source node? Like at the moment, it's just aggregating the total number of failed jobs. But really, what I want to know is like, well, was the source Gitaly node of those replication jobs the same? Because if it's like 200 job, like 400 jobs that all have the same source node, well, then I know which node should be the source node, which should be Gitaly 1, should be the source node.
So
But
we should
if
break
I've
down
got
that count.
Potentially, yeah. Because if there's like 2 or 3 source nodes, that means you've got writes on some servers but not on others, and you like that's indicative of a much bigger problem.
Okay, so I'm trying this. Okay. Is there a log output for that?
This must be the older version. The new version must have not got must not be included yet.
Oh, hey, Sammy's improvement to automatically put out-of-date repositories into read-only mode has merged. I wonder if that made it into nightly.
Yeah, let me check.
So there's like a feature flag in force read-only, I think.
3D1. Let's see. 3D1. No, it's not. It's on the nightly.
Okay. So Paul, were we expecting more feedback in this reconcile command?
Yeah, it didn't get into nightly. It's supposed to give you warnings and then print out a dry run. It looks like it just ran.
Got it.
If I run data loss again, will it be all good now? Is that how this is supposed to work?
No, I don't think so, because data loss is just telling you which jobs in the replication queue were marked as failed, and that'll never change.
Okay, but what we could do is then, is there any way to check, like, we have that job or like that command that checks if all Gitaly shards have the same checksum for a repository?
Which command is that?
That replicas one? Yeah, that one.
Can I run this?
Yeah.
I don't know what the project ID is.
Probably 1.
Maybe. Two.
This is this is another good thing that we're spotting. The project ID here is the GitLab application project ID, whereas all the other output we're looking at is hashed storage paths. So imagine an administrator that's trying to debug this. They've done a failover, they run the command to see what data is out of date. They get some output that says like, okay, there's all these failed jobs. All right, we improve the detail of those failed jobs. And then they're like, okay, now I want to bring everything into sync. So they run the reconcile command to bring things into reconciliation. Like at some point, they probably want to actually know like what those hashes actually correspond to. Are they small projects that don't matter, like small little projects that, or is there some high profile project that's really important in that list? And at the moment, we don't have any way of really taking these hashes and putting like a useful name on them. Like there's this.
Does this need to be run on a Rails node? It's looking for a local Postgres.
Yeah, I was just wondering that. I can try. Not clear from the docs, I don't think. What does it say?
Yeah, the reason why that one deals with IDs is because it's tapping into the Rails app.
Yep, but I
So
think
the
it says
other
run it on the
commands-
prefect node on the docs.
Oh,
I
it
just
does.
accidentally canceled my shit.
So the other commands, they're running only solely on prefect, and prefect has no visibility into translating like a relative path to a project name. So we'd have to integrate into both prefect and into Rails to get that information to like map the paths to something useful.
Doesn't just like the basic protobuf repository object have the project name in it, like the human readable project path?
Yeah, that's coming from a request. Like these aren't coming from a Rails app. They're coming from a manual invocation of a command line tool. So they don't have all that information present. It would have to originate from the Rails application to get that information, because that's not
Why
in
not
prefect.
use that in the replication job? So like in the replication job, store the human readable project name.
We could do that. I mean, it's not necessary for doing a replication though. It's just kind of extra data.
Right. But
It's like an alias, I guess.
right.
If
I think
it's
what we
useful,
need
is
to
it
think
extra?
about, we need to think about the fact that we've got like now 3 different debug tools for like administrators who are trying to like resolve when something goes wrong. None of them really fit together, and none of them really give information that's helpful to an administrator to feel confident about what's going on. So if you just think you've experienced data loss, some critical failure of your data center, now GitLab's tools are not giving you anything that sort of looks like anything you could quickly look up in the GitLab interface. So I think someone needs to spend some time thinking about how these tools connect to each other in a workflow, because it feels like all these tools, like we've described like the problem, like an administrator needs to know this, an administrator needs to know that. But like there's no logical connection between like how you would use these tools together in a real world workflow. Like they feel like they've been built in vacuums in the shortest possible way, but aren't really useful in a real world situation.
So can I fix Gitaly 2 here? So something funny pants?
Sorry, what was the question, James?
Well, Gitaly 2 is different. Should I, is there, so I would run reconcile to fix that?
Yeah, we can try that if you run reconcile with the target is Gitaly 2.
You just change the storage as well.
I think maybe we need, just thinking out loud here, we probably need a consolidated tool that's going through the same workflow we're doing right now, right? Check the database, see what the database thinks, and then check the actual state on the disk, and then run through each project and see if you want to apply a fix or not, like maybe some kind of interactive tool as a starter that's kind of simulating what we're doing right now.
Does the virtual storage always have to match the Gitaly? Is that what?
It'll be the same virtual storage.
Just leave it.
Yeah, the only thing you're going to change is the target.
Oh, that was fast.
If we build a tool that relies on the Rails application and the database that it has access to, we wouldn't need to store all that extra data in Prefect where it's just kind of extra. Because like right now today, Gitaly doesn't know anything about project names, right? Like it's completely abstracted away. It's just a dumb storage system. And Prefect is just building on that same abstraction but adding redundancy and availability.
Right. I think there's probably an MVC where we can build on what we've got today, right? So like when we run this like verify command that like checks if there's any replication queues, right? The jobs that are incomplete, that should probably like provide more detail and say like, okay, this is the short list of repositories that appear to be inconsistent. So rather than just saying like a count of jobs, you could have the count of jobs and be like, okay, that's the starting point for checking this. So Effect can already go and say, give me the checksum for these storage paths, right? So that job could then go say, all right, for this short list of unique projects, which have like stale jobs, I'm going to go calculate the checksum for every single shard. And I'll just show like, rather than the project name, I'll just show the hashed path 1, 2, 3, or however many nodes. And then the useful thing to know is like, is Gitaly 1 and 2 always in agreement and Gitaly 3 the one that's different, or like are they mixed? Like that's kind of the question you want answer to, because then your phase 2 would be, rather than saying recover, like overwrite from whatever the current designated primary is to a specific shard, what you'd actually want to say is, for each repository that appears to be in some sort of bad state, let me choose the source of truth and then bring all the other nodes up to agreement. So either you're saying like there'll be some nodes that are probably in quorum. So hopefully like 2 of the 3 nodes agree on the state and there's one that's different. And so you could just say, take quorum, and then like, it will just automatically resolve based on quorum rather than resolving based on like storage 1 or storage 2 or some sort of hard coded thing. And then if you wanted to manually resolve each project, maybe that's where we sort of look at, if it's manual, let's have a flag so that Prefect can go and query GitLab. It adds more latency, slows the command down, and then like converts the hashed paths and renders them as, but that's like a separate iteration. We can maybe tackle these in separate steps. What do you think about that?
I think the workflow you're describing, we can reuse some of the stuff that we already have by finely scoping each subcommand's responsibility, because we need something that can tap into the Prefect database to make that information readily available. We need something to actually perform the reconcile, and we need something to do the querying between all replicas of a repository, which the rake task does. The rake task already has access to the database, so we don't really need Prefect to do that. We just need an orchestrating command that can take these 3 commands and kind of turn them into like a super command, kind of like the way Git does by taking all these plumbing commands and putting them together to create pipelines. I think we need something kind of similar. We just need to make sure that the individual commands are very simple in scope. They're doing too much. Like reconciles is doing some of what the rake task is doing, for example. They're both iterating over all the projects and trying to figure out what's wrong. One of those tools should do it. Probably the rake task, since it can tap into the database and into Rails. Or sorry, it can tap into Rails and get the list of expected projects. the reconcile command should probably just be scoped to just doing the repairs, just knowing how to, or we can get rid of the reconcile command and just be able to schedule directly replication jobs. So yeah, I think we need to just reduce the scope of each one of these subcommands so that they're like these really simple atomic type tools that we can, you know, orchestrate together, do more complex workflows.
Makes sense. I think we should throw together a proposal and schedule that for 13.1 so that we can start improving this.
Sounds good. I'll create a starter issue.
Great. So they're all in agreement now, James.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. They seem they still are too.
Nice. Cool.
Does this just go horizontally for as many nodes you have?
Yeah, looks like it.
Pretty sweet.
I don't know. I think we've learned a lot in this demo about the admin tools. So I think it was a pretty good success in diving into that. I think as part of the revisiting the commands, the admin commands, we should also revisit the documentation. Because currently they're kind of like all documented as separate commands rather than having a single documented section for recovering from a failure. And like recovering from a failure, like there should be like a clear step-by-step plan of like, this is the command you run to assess the impact. Like there should be one command. This is the command you run to like generate a plan for what will be done. And then this is like how you verify that everything is recovered and consistent.
Yeah.
So
James, that feels like that feels like kind of a run book sort of thing. Do you think that should go in the, I was thinking because these docs are already getting pretty big, just in a better place that we could put that. Or do you think we should throw it in here for now?
I think let's just put it in here and then we can always move it out. It's easy to move a chunk to a block to another section, but I think if we move it first, like that's another iteration that obstructs us from documenting what's important information.
Okay.
Cool. Thanks, James. Thanks, John, Paul, Mark, Will, everyone I think contributed. Very useful, and looking forward to hopefully seeing the read-only nodes next week. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Who's demoing?
Cool. I am next week.
Cool.
Well,
thanks, James. And
Real
best of
quick,
luck,
do you
John.
mind if I insert myself back into the rotation for demos? I think it's
oh
useful
yeah,
for me at least.
yeah.
I guess I'll be an APAC person, even though I'm East Coast.
All right. Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah. All right. I'll do that later. All right. Thanks.
It's looking good.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.